So this past June, I was able to take my first trip to Kings Island in Mason, Ohio. This was a bucket list park I was dying to visit since like elementary school. So I'm pretty happy I made that happen this year. So since my visit, I wanted to go over my top 10 favorite coasters at Kings Island. So enough chit-chatting, and let's just dive right into this video. So I did ride Woodstock Express and Flying Ace I didn't ride, but I did go on its clone at Carowinds, so I have a feel for them. Not even sure why I'm mentioning that, because both of those coasters aren't in my top 10. And they are opening up a new Boomerang coaster next year, so obviously that's not open yet, so I'm not going to be including that in this video. So without further delay, coming in at number 10 is going to be Adventure Express. Now, I went into this coaster not really knowing what to expect because I didn't watch any, like, POVs or, like, look up any, like, other information regarding the coaster. I just know it was down for, like, maintenance, I believe, because they were redoing, like, Adventure Port or that whole area. So, as soon as you leave the station, it has, like, a little pre-lift section, and, a lot of the transitions are, like, really janky, and, like, you get, like, some laterals and, like, some pretty good pops with airtime. So, with that being said, I think it's like my favorite mine chain coaster, I want to say. It took the title from Roadrunner at Fiesta. I don't know, just because it's a pretty cool layout, and like, even the lift hill going back up to the station, it's pretty well themed. Next at number 9, that's going to be in Vertigo. Now, going into this coaster, I thought I was gonna headbang a lot, just because that's pretty much what I'm used to on these types of coasters. But it wasn't too bad, actually. I didn't really have a headache when I got off of it, so that's always good. But, yeah, it was pretty cool. It reminded me of Stinger at Dorney Park. Number 8 is gonna be the Bat. And, that was my third, suspended coaster that I've been on. I've been on, Iron Dragon, and I've also been on Ninja. This is probably my favorite out of the 3. I like the swinging sensation on that. You don't see that too much on, or you don't see that on too many roller coasters nowadays. So, if you see a suspended coaster, I would probably ride it before it's too late, because you never know what's going to happen to them in the near future. So, number 7 is Flight of Fear, and I do have to say I like the outdoor versions better, just because the mid-course doesn't hit on them. That's the only downfall with Flight of Fear. But besides that, the launch is pretty intense. I like the first 2 inversions, and since it's like a compact layout, you really feel like the force is on the turns. So yeah, it's pretty cool. So number 6 is gonna come to a surprise to some of you, but I'm gonna give that to Backlot Stunt Coaster. I know it's nothing too crazy. The launch is alright. But the launch into that upward helix, it's actually really forceful, and I kind of grayed out on that part, so that was awesome. Had little pops of airtime, nothing too crazy. But I do like the section where I guess it's like the mid-course, or like the show scene, I guess. Like the fire and the smoke. I think there was smoke. I know there was definitely fire, but I do like how that the effects were working on there, so that kind of made the ride better, because I do like a little bit of theming on my coasters. When possible, obviously. So yeah, we made it to the top 5. We're halfway there. Number 5 is going to be the Beast, which is the world's longest wooden roller coaster. And first drop is pretty good. If you sit in the front row or back row, I'm not sure which one I like better, actually. I would probably say, I guess the back row, because you get kind of whipped. Kind of meanders throughout the layout because it's really long. But what gets it for me is the after the second lift hill, you go down the drop. It's like a upward helix or whatever you want to call that into that tunnel. It's really intense. I don't know why it's not talked about enough. Actually, it's kind of underrated because that element or that helix or whatever is really intense. One of my favorites on any like coaster I've ever been on. So, yeah, number 4 is going to be Banshee, which is currently my second favorite B&M inverted coaster. I like how it doesn't have, like, that pre-drop section. It just drops straight down. So, if you sit in the back row, you really feel that tug down the first drop. And, I think, what's it called? The Batwing part, or whatever you want to call that. That's similar to Montu's. It doesn't hit as hard as Montu, but that part's still pretty fun. But my favorite part of the ride is that last inverted twist, because you get some pretty good hang time on that. And yeah, that's Banshee. So then we made it to the top three, and I know the top three always get like mixed up between like other enthusiasts and everything. But my top three at Kings Island is number three is going to be Orion, and if you go into Orion expecting Fury or comparing it to Fury, then you're probably going to be disappointed. But if you go into Orion with a clear mind, not trying to compare it to anything, and just ride it for what it is, then you're going to think it's a lot of fun. And that's pretty much what I did. That's why I do like it. It's just the other two coasters ahead of Orion are better in my opinion. We'll get to that later when we get there. But I like the first drop. The wave turn doesn't really do too much. If you sit in the front row right side, that's my favorite seat for that. The turnaround doesn't really do anything. But that little airtime hill after the turnaround is probably my favorite part of the ride because you get some really good floater. I'm talking like 3 to 5 seconds worth of like floater airtime. So I do like that. It's a little short. Could have been a little longer maybe, but it's fine for what it is, I guess. It's still a really good ride. So then, number 2 is going to be Diamondback. So when I first rode both Diamondback and Mystic Timbers, I did like Diamondback more, which I'll get to that later on after I talk about Diamondback. But I like the first drop. I think every single airtime hill provides some pretty good pops of floater airtime. And I do like the little water effect they added at the end. It's a really good visual. And I think it's my third favorite B&M Hyper Coaster, right behind Mako and Goliath. So, yeah, with that being said, that's also like in my top 25. So it could be even like my top 20, which I'll create that video probably in the next month or two. So stay tuned for that. So then number 1, obviously that's going to be Mystic Timbers. So like I said before, I like Diamondback better than Mystic Timbers at first. Until I rode Mystic Timbers again at night 3 times in a row. I think I rode the front row once or towards the front, and I got the back row twice. And it was freaking flying. Holy shit. I definitely got warmed up from the morning, from my morning ride. But yeah, it has some pretty crazy transitions, some great laterals, some great airtime. And I was like smiling throughout the entire layout. So, and I think it's probably in my top 10. I don't know where my top 10, but I can guarantee you it's definitely in my top 10. Yeah, so that's my favorite coasters at Kings Island. If you've been to Kings Island, comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. What are your favorite rides there? And if you're new here, if you like the video, subscribe if you haven't. I would really appreciate it. And I'll catch you guys next video. Peace out.